Alright, best shonen manga series would go to the only shonen manga series that I got this year, or even started up this year, and that is Hunter x Hunter. I know someone's gonna say, but it's Hunter x Hunter. Well, you know what? I am under the idea that the X is just meant to break up the title, the same way Rao Omega Grad is really supposed to be Rao Grad. And I know that because in the 4th volume of Rao Grad, they even come out and say that that's how it's pronounced. And if you want to get really technical, the symbol on the front of that series is not an omega symbol. It's actually called Dragon Head, and it's from astrology, but on the spine, they messed it up, and they changed to an omega symbol. So if you really want to get technical, it's not even Rao Omega Grad. But I digress. Hunter x Hunter. Doesn't matter what it's called, it matters what's in it. And what's in it is a good adventure romp, and that's what I like about it. It's got a great sort of character, with Gon as sort of being... I didn't like Gon at the beginning because he seemed very bland and sort of just in there as kind of the metaphor of the audience to try and connect with. He's kind of like a Goku, Mary Stu in that sense, but and I really like Killua a bit more. But really, if there was one thing I kind of don't like about the series, is just the idea that Togashi will kind of go with an idea, and then it seems like he thinks up a more awesome idea, and then he goes with that more awesome idea for a while, and then just sort of lets the other ideas kind of meander until he decides to remark on them again later. And that is, and I mean that in terms of what the hell is going on with Kurapika, who sort of shows up and then goes away. Leo Rio, who literally does nothing but keeps showing up on like the covers of the manga volumes, so it's clear that that Togashi still remembers Leo Rio, but just doesn't do anything with him. And then also just the Spiders gang, who literally show up. They're clearly in opposition, but clearly they don't expand on them anymore. Right now, there's the whole thing with the Chimera ants, and I'm okay with that, but I'm really ready to see things get back to with the Spiders, because I just like the main leader of the Spiders is just so awesome that I just want to know more about him. But that's Hunter x Hunter in that sense, and it is a great shonen series, and it's just a shame that I think like it's volume 7 or 8, and then volume 14 that are just so outrageously expensive that it makes it hard for manga readers to really want to get in and collect the series. On top of that, also Togashi's random and inconsistent periods of just putting the series on hiatus, because he won't just say, I need help, and get an assistant or two to help him draw the series and keep it on a regular schedule. But that's that, and I'll read it when it comes out, because it's not like I don't have other series I can enjoy too, which we should probably get into them too. Okay, next up, best shoujo series. Now, some of you may be thinking that I'm going to say Sailor Moon, because I was talking about it previously. Some of you would be wrong again. I don't know what's wrong with you people. You just seem to have a bad luck at guessing what I'm going to say. But in that sense, Sailor Moon is really fun, and it is very girly, but as far as just you know, storytelling engine and just really taking something and making it your own, I have to go with who else? The godfather of all manga, Tezuka, with his series Princess Knight. This is the second part, so now you guys at 2 can get it, and it's only 2 volumes, and I love this series. Every time I think that it's about to go into some boring cliche and it's gonna permeate the whole series, they stop and they move on to a new idea. And I really appreciate that. You may be reading at the beginning thinking, oh, okay, so the whole thing is going to be the evil uncle trying to oust her as a girl so that he can then abdicate the throne from her. And that's going to be the whole series. And it's going to be like, ooh, you rue the day that you crossed my path. But then you'd be wrong, because then she does actually get ousted as a girl, and she does have to abdicate the throne. And you're like, what? You mean that's not something you're just going to run with for 20 bajillion pages until you've run it into the ground? You actually moved on to a new idea? What? What? Or you get to the next part and you're like, oh, okay, so the girl likes a guy, but she can't because she's pretending to be a guy, so she's going to pretend to be a girl, and then he's going to fall in love with the girl, but it's actually her, but she has to pretend to be a guy, and this is going to be 20 bajillion pages, like with Ranma 1/2, the way Ranma the boy and Kuno the dude are actually bitter rivals with each other, but when Ranma's a girl, Kuno's in love with the girl version of Ranma, but it's the same person, and he doesn't like her, and they actually both like Akane, and you think that they're going to do something, but they're just going to go on for 36 volumes and just go on, and then you're like, no, he finds out that they are the same person, and he does still want to marry her, and it moves on. There's progression. That is the one word to say to describe this series, is progression. There's not this sort of stagnating minor plot thread that never gets resolved until the very end. It's like, it goes, and then it stops, and then it moves on. And I love that. That is wonderful. I really enjoy it. And you're going to as well. Also, it's a great entry into just more of Tezuka's stuff, because it's very easy to get into, and it doesn't feel like he's trying to make some sort of statement or anything. He's just telling a fantasy adventure story that happens to be focused around a girl, and the girl is actually fun. You want to root for her, and I really love that, and anyone can pick up and get it. With Sailor Moon, I mean, we already know this song and dance. Anyone who's getting this series isn't getting it because they're like, what is this Sailor Moon? I know nothing of this. I'll give it a shot, just a blind rundown, just to see what's all this hubbub. You know, anyone who's getting this series already knows what they're getting into. Nobody except people that are hardcore Tezuka fans know what the hell Princess Knight is. And there's far less people than I would have thought that know about Tezuka and how awesome he is. So, really, just go out and grab this. And also, on top of that, it's only 2 volumes. It's not like Sailor Moon where they got you by the wallet for 10 more volumes, which you can gladly grab me by the wallet if it gives me more Sailor Moon. So, if it was a Sophie's choice to get between the two of these, but for Princess Knight more just because of the notoriety, because of the pedigree, and because of how well it's done. So that's all I have to say on behalf of the best shoujo in that respect. All right, then best rereading. Now, to be fair, I did reread all of Bleach. The only problem is I kind of didn't like it as much. I still enjoy it, not as much, especially with those crazy plot holes and stuff. And if you want to know more about that, you can check out my Blip account at MangaMatt's.blip.tv, and you can see what I think about Bleach, the series, and my problems with Bleach, the series. But I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about what I did reread and did actually enjoy just as much as I did before, and that is Dragonhead. 10 volumes, well-paced, very fun, very scary, very suspenseful, and it's great post-apocalyptic kind of setting, and I really enjoyed that about it. Granted, the first 2 volumes are still the best parts because they're stuck in the train and there's kind of that doom and gloom that they're gonna stay there until they eventually starve to death, or one of them goes crazy and kills the other person. But the rest of it is a lot better than I thought. There's only one really bad part about it that I don't like, and that's only really related to me and my degree in biology that really bugs me. And that's a point when the main character, Teru, he gets sick, and the girl and a woman there who was a former nurse recognizes that he's undergoing the symptoms of tetanus, and so she sends the girl, I forget her name, Akko. She sends Akko and this other dude on the back who they meet later, sends both of them into town to a pharmacy she knows that can get him the prescription drug to help his illness. And really it was just a means to get Akko and this other guy together to sort of give some more character development between the two of them. But the problem with it was she sent them into town to get a toxoid, which I'll give you credit. Toxoid is a legitimate treatment for tetanus. The only problem is that toxoid is a vaccine. And vaccines are 100% useless when you already have the disease that the vaccine is meant to vaccinate you for. So, logically, getting the vaccine and giving it to Teru would not cure him of his ailment with tetanus. There's only one illness in this world that you can treat with the vaccine after being exposed to it, and that is rabies. He clearly did not have rabies. But that is a very minor point, and I only touch upon it because of my vast knowledge of biology, and you kind of get this drilled into your head, and so when you see it, you kind of go off on a tangent about it. But anyone else who doesn't have a serious affiliation with biology won't even notice it, and you'll just go on. And it really is amazing, and I enjoyed rereading it, and it's a lot of fun. So I'll continue on with the next part.